UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos is this weekend, and I'm going to be breaking down all fights on this card and giving you my prediction for it and a little bit of a breakdown. Also, this is a little bit of a lengthier card, so I'm going to try and speed through it as fast as I can. But let's get right into it. I know a couple fights are a little bit in jeopardy right now, so I'm not going to go over them too much. So the Ramonda, Pascual, and the Tamires Vidal fight and the Polyana Viana fight, I believe, is in jeopardy right now because apparently Vidal and Viana are both stuck in Brazil right now. I don't know for what reason, but it sounds like they might not be on the card, which is fine with me. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, I'm just going to run through this card real quick. Run through a couple of these fights also. So Ramonda Pascual versus Tamires Vidal. I think I'm gonna go with Ramonda Pascual in this fight. I just think she's a little bit more polished. She's 10 years older, so there's a big difference there. Will have a I guess it doesn't show a reach for Tamires Vidal, but I'm gonna go with Ramonda Pascual. I just think she's a more polished fighter, but I can also see Vidal winning this fight. But it will definitely go to a decision. So if you're a betting man, I would bet over 2.5 for this fight. Let's move on. Up the card, we have Jake Hadley versus Carlos Candelario. Jake Hadley, 8-1, 26 years of age and 68 inches of reach. Candelario, 8-2, 31 years of age and 68 inches of reach also. Candelario will be 5 years older than Jake Hadley. For this fight, I am going to go with Jake Hadley. I do think he's a little bit faster on the feet. I think he will be too fast for Candelario. I'm not too worried about the takedowns against Jake Hadley. I think his last fight against Alan Nascimento's a pretty big flyweight, and I just think the issues in the grappling was more towards the weight advantage for Nascimento in that last fight, and I just think Jake Hadley will be a lot quicker and probably will be able to get him out of this fight within 3 rounds. So I'm going to go Jake Hadley by TKO in like the 2nd or 3rd round. Up the card, we have Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Liudvik Sholinian. Oh my God. Munoz 11-2, 29 years of age and 71 inches of reach. Sholinian, I'm going to say it like that, 9-2, 32 years of age and 71 inches of reach also. This fight is very interesting. I was a little not comfortable picking this fight, surprisingly, to myself, because I realized Johnny Munoz is such a big favorite, like minus 200 favorite. And I was like, I don't know if Johnny Munoz should be a minus 200 favorite in this fight. I'm not comfortable with him on the feet at all. When I see him fight, it seems like he's always trying to avoid the big shot, which is what you're supposed to do, avoid the big shots. But it seems like every strike he's just trying not to, it's more of he's trying not to get hit rather than hitting the other guy. So a lot of the times when he punches, it's out of range and he's not touching the guy, and he's just avoiding any shot coming at his way. Will eventually shoot in the round, but I think if this fight stays up on the feet for a little bit too long, I think Liudvik, Sholinian can take him out. But I don't know, I'm a little uneasy in this fight because I think I could be made to look like an idiot in this fight, and then Johnny Munoz just takes him down and just roughs him up on the ground for the longest time. But Sholinian also is a pretty tough dude. I believe he fought Bill Algeo in his last fight. And Bill Algeo was able to get him, or sorry, not Bill Algeo, sorry, Jack Shore. I don't know why I confused him. But Jack Shore in his last fight, Jack Shore was able to get him on the ground, but Sholinian was able to get up right on the feet, was super tough. I don't think he'll get finished in this fight, but again, I'm just not sure about this one. I would go, initially I thought Liudvik Sholinian, but I think the safer bet is probably go Johnny Munoz, but I can definitely see Liudvik Sholinian winning this fight, maybe hurting Johnny Munoz early and taking him out. But that's the only way I see this fight getting finished at all from either of these two guys. Johnny Munoz, I think, can probably grind this one out for 3 rounds. But let's see when their last fight was. So Johnny Munoz fought Tony Gravely 3 months ago and got KO'd, so that's very interesting. It's a pretty bad KO, too. Jack Shore, it was more of a TKO, but he took a lot of shots. Jack Shore a year ago, so we don't really know what kind of improvements Sholinian kind of made in this fight. So I think I'm a little bit more comfortable with going Munoz here, but I can definitely see Sholinian winning this fight. So I'm going to go... I'll go Munoz by decision, but I can definitely see Sholinian winning by like a TKO later in this fight. Up the card, we have Mario Bautista versus Benito Lopez. Bautista, 10-2, 29 years of age, 69 inches of reach. Lopez, 10-1, 28 years of age, and 73 inches of reach. We'll have a 4-inch reach advantage. Lopez will. But for this fight, I'm going to go with Mario Bautista. I just think he fights at a higher pace. Will be able to use his offensive grappling abilities and mix that in with his pace and things like that. Go super fast, be able to take him down and control him and beat him up on the ground. Maybe submit him, but Lopez is pretty solid off his back. Lopez also hasn't fought in 3 years, so I'm a little worried to see. Not a little worried, but I don't know how I'm supposed to pick him in this fight if I haven't seen him in 3 years. I have to I'm relying basically on what I've seen from Bautista over the possible improvements that Benito Lopez could have made within the last fight they had 3 years, 2 months ago. He had a win against Vince Morales, which is a pretty solid win now. But again, 3 years ago, I don't know what he'll look like. I'm assuming he made quite a bit of improvements, but I do think Mario Lopez, based off of what I've seen, not Mario Lopez, Mario Bautista, based off of what I've seen recently, will be able to keep him down on the ground and probably grind him out for a decision here. I don't think Lopez will get submitted, but Lopez could definitely surprise and win this fight, but I am going to go with Mario Bautista. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that pick. Up the card, we have Miranda Maverick versus Shanna Young. Miranda Maverick, 25 years of age, 65.5 inches of reach, 10-4 also. Shanna Young, 8-4, 31 years of age and 65 inches of reach. I'm gonna go Miranda Maverick here. Her last one was a win over Sabina Mazo by a rear naked choke, and then you have Erin Blanchfield and Macy Barber, which are solid fighters herself. I thought she won against Macy Barber, but it's a pretty bad decision there for that fight. Stephanie Egger lost, Macy Chiasson lost, which isn't bad, but I don't know. I think I trust Miranda Maverick here. I think she's a better prospect. She is also 6 years younger, so she's still making quite a bit of improvements from her last fight 6 months ago, so I'm assuming she probably will be. I don't know how this fight will finish, but I'm going to assume that maybe a decision, but she is a pretty heavy favorite here. I don't think Shanna Young will win this fight at all. So Miranda Maverick by a decision, I guess. Maybe she finishes her in the fight. Up the card, we have Darrick Minner versus Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. That's how I'm going to say that. Minner, 26-13, 32 years of age, 71 inches of reach. Nuerdanbieke, 37-10, 28 years of age, 69 inches of reach. Minner will have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. I'm going to go with Nuerdanbieke. I just think he's going to be way stronger than Minner in this fight, and does have some decent power in his hands, which will gain some respect in the stand-up. But yeah, I just think he'll be able to just take him down, outstrength him, outpower him on the ground, and grind him out for a decision in this fight. So that's how I see that one going. Let's move on up the card. Up the card, we have Mark Madsen versus Grant Dawson. Madsen's 12-0, 38 years of age, 72 inches of reach. Dawson, 18-1, 28 years of age and 72 inches of reach. Grant Dawson will have a 10-year, I guess it is an advantage, 10-year age advantage, or will be 10 years younger. But for this fight, it was a little tricky for me because I think just the aspect physically, I think Madsen being 10 years older than Grant Dawson being 38, you're going to see his skills maybe deplete a little bit. But he is pretty good on the ground. I can see him taking Grant Dawson down, which is what I'm afraid of with this pick, because I am going to choose Grant Dawson in this fight. I just think he's a little bit more skill on the feet, and then maybe we'll be able to get out of those positions on the bottom. But again, this is one of those fights where I can see Mark Madsen winning this fight, just keeping him on the ground and grinding him out there. But I am going to go with Grant Dawson. I just think he's a little bit better everywhere. He's still young enough to improve most of the areas of his fighting style. So I am going to go with Grant Dawson, but I could see this going the other way potentially. But yeah, we're going Grant Dawson by decision. Up the card, we have Tagir Ulanbekov versus Nate Maness. Ulanbekov, 13-2, 31 years of age, 70 inches of reach. Nate Maness, 14-2, 31 years of age, and 72 inches of reach. will have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight, and same age, obviously. But I'm going to go with Tagir Ulanbekov for Nate Maness' last fight. Although it was against Umar Nurmagomedov, I still think he needed to put up like a decent performance. It seemed like he kind of just accepted that he was just going to get beaten that whole time. So he didn't really put up much of a fight. I'm just going to be honest. I don't even know what the strike totals were in there, but I think it was probably, single-digit strikes. Significant strikes, at least. But Tagir Ulanbekov, last fight was against Tim Elliott 7 months ago. Very fun fight, actually. Now that I think about it, I rewatched it a little bit earlier. Did get dropped, I think, like once in that fight. But Tim Elliott's the test of flyweight. Didn't necessarily get past it, but again, the whole thing coming out of there was that Tim Elliott cheated a couple times. That was a fight, in case you haven't seen it, that like Khabib got all angry and things like that in the corner. But I'm going to go with Tagir Ulanbekov. I think he's going to be able to take down Nate Maness and then just grind him out on the ground there. But maybe Nate Maness might be a little bit more comfortable now and might be able to hurt Ulanbekov on the feet. But I'm going to go Tagir Ulanbekov in this fight. I just think he's going to be able to ground him, keep him on the ground, grind him out on the ground, and win this fight. His buddy Umar Nurmagomedov already fought him, so kind of keep like a similar game plan that way. But yeah, I'm going to go Tagir Ulanbekov by decision in this one. Up the card, we had Josh Parisian versus Chase Sherman. Parisian, 15-5, 33 years of age, 79 inches of reach. Sherman, 16-10, 32 years of age, and 78 inches of reach. Parisian will have a 1-inch reach advantage in this fight. Will also be a little bit over a year older than, or I guess exactly a year. Well, a little bit, a year older, just about a year and a half. But for this fight, I am going to go with Chase Sherman. I'm not too confident in it either. But I just think he will probably be able to outstrike Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian's last fight against Alan Baudot did get hurt a lot in that first round against Alan Baudot, and that was only 3 months ago. Dontel Mays lost from crucifix, so a lot of damage there. Roque Martinez won, lost against Parker Porter, and then won against Chad Johnson on the Contender Series. Chase Sherman last fight was a win against Jared Bandera. Make that what you will. Lost against Alexander Romanov, Jake Collier. So he's fought some pretty good opponents here. I just think Chase Sherman will be able to outstrike him on the feet. Not worry too much about the ground game of Josh Parisian. Escape some of that. But Josh Parisian could probably also pin him down on the ground and TKO him due to just like ground and pound strikes, just too much. Not like actually taking out Chase Sherman, but just like stopping it due to ground strikes. But I am going to go with Chase Sherman in this matchup, probably by decision. But again, Josh Parisian has taken a lot of damage in this fight, so we'll see how that goes. But I do think Chase Sherman will just be able to strike him on the feet. Maybe it'll be a little bit more technical than Josh Parisian in this matchup. Up the card, we have our co-main event of the evening, Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez. Magny, 26-9, 35 years of age, 80 inches of reach. D-Rod, 17-2, 35 years of age, and 74 inches of reach. Magny will have a 6-inch reach advantage in this fight, which is pretty big. But I'm going to go with D-Rod. I think he's going to be able to outstrike Magny. Most of this is basically coming from the fact that I don't trust Neil Magny at all. His last fight was a loss against Shavkat, which is a really weird performance from him. Got knocked down against Max Griffin. Barely won by a split decision in that fight. Won against Jeff Neal, which is pretty impressive, but then lost to Michael Chiesa. And then won against Robbie Lawler. But you see what I mean? If you watch a lot of Neil Magny, he seems like a very inconsistent fighter. He has the potential to beat a Jeff Neal, but then lose Michael Chiesa before that. Shavkat won't hold too much against him, but it didn't seem like he was, I don't know what the hell he was doing in that fight, in all honesty. For D-Rod, his last fight, I thought he lost that fight. Didn't want to come off that fight and win another one just to prove that I can still win a fight. This is a pretty solid test for him. Neil Magny isn't a scrub by any means. So I think D-Rod will be able to outstrike him on the feet, probably by 29-28. I can see Neil Magny probably winning round. I think this will be super competitive, super close. So you'll have maybe some robbery words looming over, 3 weeks in a row we had a bad decision. Even though I do think the Dustin Jacoby Roundtree fight was egregious, but I think we'll have a super competitive fight. Super close decision for this one. I think it'll go 29-28 D-Rod, though. I think he'll be able to outstrike him on the feet and win this fight by a decision. Majority decision. Not like a split decision. So unanimous, not a majority. Up the card, we have Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos. Rodriguez 16-1, 35 years of age and 65 inches of reach. Lemos 12-2, 35 years of age and 65 inches of reach as well. Same age, same reach, and a not so similar record. But Rodriguez, I'm going to take Rodriguez in this fight for 5 rounds. I think her cardio is going to hold up a little bit better than Amanda Lemos's. Amanda Lemos does have the power, but I do think Marina Rodriguez will be able to like outpace her, if you know what I mean. So she'll be a little bit too much on the feet with the volume and the pace that she fights at. I just think she'll be a little bit too much for Amanda Lemos. Maybe Amanda Lemos will be able to land a couple big shots that'll make the rounds a little bit interesting, but I do think Marina Rodriguez will be able to use her volume to her advantage, overwhelm Amanda Lemos, and make it so like she doesn't throw. Like Amanda Lemos in some of her fights doesn't really throw that much. I'm just going to be real. Like it seems like she's a little hesitant to throw early on in the fight, so I am going to give this to Marina Rodriguez. I just think she's going to be quicker. Is quicker the word? I think she'll just throw more volume, outstrike Amanda Lemos. Maybe Amanda Lemos takes a round or two, but as the fight goes on, you'll see Marina Rodriguez definitely win this fight. Her last fight was a win against Yan Xiaonan, which was an interesting decision, pretty close decision. Michelle Watterson was Amanda Lemos' last fight, and then she lost to Jessica Andrade relatively quickly, like a standing triangle or something like that. What was it? Standing arm triangle choke, which is pretty interesting. But I just think Marina Rodriguez outstrike her on the feet for 5 rounds to a very interesting decision. Maybe UFC loses viewers a little bit, but we have UFC 281 next week also, so I won't complain too much about this one, but I wish. Wasn't this one the Bryce Mitchell card? The Bryce Mitchell versus Evloev, or that would have been nice on this one, but I'm not going to complain too much. This is an alright fight. It's a pretty important fight. This will probably, I don't want to say this is the next title shot, but it might be close enough. At least for Marina Rodriguez, she could probably get a title shot if she wins pretty dominantly against Amanda Lemos. Wins 4-3. Just wins in general, unanimous decision. So I'm gonna go Marina Rodriguez in this fight. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the whole breakdown. Some interesting fights on here and nothing crazy. Thank God we have Neil Magny versus D-Rod. That is somewhat interesting, but next week, super fun card. I'm gonna be breaking down some of the fights on there. We have some pretty on and off cards, but down the stretch we have some pretty good cards. Also fight night cards, main events. Main cards, pay-per-view cards. I hope you guys enjoy the videos, and see you guys next time.